be seated. The title of my message this morning is The Desire to See, drawn from the verse in John's Gospel. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see. Our problem is that so many times we attempt to live life as faithful Christians only to be given the cold shoulder or a brush off. To be a faithful Christian is to risk being unheard or rejected. Why do people act this way toward Christians? When we read a great book or see an exciting movie and tell a colleague or friend about it, they're not offended. If we build an addition on our home or put some new plantings around our house, our neighbor doesn't scoff at us. When we get a great haircut or wear a bright new spring outfit, our family members don't turn away in disgust. But if we excitedly say we're going to church on Sunday morning, or if we say we've started to read the Bible, many of our neighbors, colleagues, family members, and friends think we've become a freak. We've become one of those people. There are a couple of reasons for their reaction. One is that many people don't want to see. The Spanish mystic Teresa of Avila exclaimed, "Behold, the need is greater than the man born blind, for he wanted to see the light and couldn't. Now, Lord, there is no desire to see." Today, many people suffer from addictions. I'm not just speaking about opioids and other drugs. I'm referring to the addiction to intensity. Many people love the rush found in many aspects of life. There's the rush of importance. Some people may be sick as a dog but still come to work, and others don't take vacations, boasting about it whenever anyone else mentions they're taking time off. They do so because it feeds their self-worth. It makes them feel important. There's also the rush of power, the willingness to drive not just over the speed limit, but at the limits of safety. Feels great to some because of the power to control a fast-moving car. We can think of others who misuse power just to feel strong. There are other rushes as well, such as thrill rides that feed the quest for intensity. Still others suffer from the lure of stimulation. Smartphones are insidious little devices that stimulate the brain. They trigger all sorts of brain activity, making it impossible to get to sleep. Its cause is the lure of restlessness. Trolling social media sites and other information outlets keep us from rest, keep us from stopping. For some, it is better to be restless than to drift into boredom or get some sleep. Addictions and lures keep some people from seeing the good news, but their vision is also hampered by us Christians. When we feel joy or peace at church, there are times when we must tell others. The Spirit urges us to do so, but sometimes we Christians are too strident, too excited, too overjoyed by God with us. When this happens, we sound saccharine, too sweet. People hear us and think, that's too good to be true. The other problem is that when non-Christians come to church services, their expectations and ours miss. To them, worship services seem dull. It's not our fault. How can a weekly service compete with an IMAX surround sound movie theater experience? We don't even sell popcorn, drinks, or snacks. We can't compete with the excitement of a professional sports competition or a music concert either. Moreover, we have difficulty explaining to others why church faith in God matters so much to us. It is difficult to explain those moments when God moves powerfully in and among us. When a vision stirs us from sleep, we're not even sure it's really happening. How do we explain it to another person without them thinking, "Where's the straitjacket?" We hear a disembodied voice. We feel a beloved relative's presence even though they've been dead for years. We're moved to tears by a hymn or some wonderful organ music played so movingly by Rory. We were deeply comforted when we kneel at the communion rail. How can we put words into these experiences of the divine? The clue to bridging this divide is found in our gospel reading this morning. There is a man blind since birth who begs each day on the street corner until he meets Jesus. In the man's story, we discover the power of the good news and the lure of Jesus. The clue we need is in the man's final action and Jesus' concluding statement. Let's look closer at the gospel reading. Jesus healed the man blind since birth. When he returns home, his neighbors didn't recognize him. They treated the man as a stranger and a liar. Then he becomes an orphan, rejected by his parents. He goes unheard and finally driven out of their midst. Although they could see the man's sight had returned, his neighbors and religious leaders could not see the good news right in front of their faces. They were blind. The man tried to explain to them what had happened, but they couldn't understand it. Why? Teresa of Avila tells us they had no desire to see. They were addicted to the power of their religious laws. By these laws, they could control their own actions and those of who followed them. They were convinced that the only place God could be found was in the law. They could read the rules in those laws over and over again and say, "See, this is the way we are supposed to act. This is what God wants." It was stimulating and rewarding. In this way, the law was the smartphone of their time. Because of their adherence to the law, they had no desire to see. But there's another part to the story, one based on the man's interactions with Jesus. It makes all the difference. Jesus found the man who now could see but had been driven away. Jesus asked him if he believed in the Son of Man, learning that it was Jesus. The man worshiped him. Then Jesus spoke about his mission. He said he came to earth so that those who do not see may see. Our clues are worship and Jesus' mission statement. What does Jesus' giving the man sight and his mission statement say about what is possible now? Jesus still brings sight to the blind. Jesus gives people sight today, perhaps not physically, but definitely spiritually. But the sight is not for everyone. Not everyone will see that Jesus is the Son of Man. Some are too caught by the rush of importance, power, and thrill. Some are lured away by the illuminations of small screens, ever scrolling restlessly. About these people, Teresa writes, "Oh, what great blindness that we seek rest where it is impossible to find it." Some people will never see Jesus for who he is because their concept of God and even the existence of God doesn't reconcile with the Son of Man. Some will never believe, even if it's staring them right in the face. For us, we are the man who Jesus gave sight. We go into the world. Although it does not recognize or understand us, we go because Jesus sends us. Then we let Jesus find us again each Sunday morning so that we may worship him. Our work is to go into the world and be seen. Those who see us for the Christians we are will experience Jesus. They will come with us hoping to encounter Jesus right here, hoping their sight will be given, and hoping they too may worship the Son of Man.